Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So the question that we have is, using the graph to the left, let's find an equation representing a line that is parallel to line CD and that passes through negative 3, 4. So that's my ordered pair that I have. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at it. So really there's kind of 3 steps that I would do for this one. So the first one that I would want to do is, since it says parallel, I want to make sure that I find the slope, or in this case find the M for line CD. That's kind of the first thing that I'm wanting to do there, is I'm wanting to find the slope there. The second thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to then find the equation. So I'm going to find the equation that is parallel to line CD. And so the way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to have a slope and then I'm going to have a point right here. So this is an X and a Y. So I'm going to have that. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use what's called point slope form. So point slope is what I'm going to use there. And then my last thing, and this is going to be kind of an if needed. So if needed, we'll put that here, is going to be convert to either standard form. So convert to standard form or slope intercept form. So it's going to be one of those. So convert to standard form or convert to slope intercept form. So let's go ahead and we'll get to it. So step 1 is we need to find out what our M is. So that's what we're going to do first. And so the way that we need to do that is we can just take a look at this graph. There's kind of 2 ways, is that we can either use the formula, which the formula is just M is equal to x1, oh, excuse me, that's midpoint. So the formula here, let's back up real quick. It's going to be the change in y over the change in x. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's what we can kind of do there. So when I look at this graph up here, what I have is I've got C, and I can just label C as x1 and then y1, and then up here I can label D as x2 and y2. And so then I could take those and I could plug that into my formula. So I'd get slope is y2, well it's just 4. And then y1 is negative 2, so minus negative 2. And then my x2 is going to be 3. And then minus my x1, which is negative 6. Well, when you minus a negative, remember it changes to positive. So I'm going to change those both to positive. And so it comes out as 6 over 9. Well, if I reduce 6 over 9, I can divide each of those by 3. So divide by 3. And then I can divide this by 3. And when I do that there, I get 2 over 3. So I know my slope is going to be 2/3. That's one way that you can do that. The other way you can do it is you can just do rise over run on the graph. And this is not necessarily an exact science, but you can always do rise over run. And so when I look at this, I can see there's kind of a spot right here that I could do. I could even just go up to that point right there. So there's kind of 2 things that you could do on there, is rise over run. And so if you notice this right here, every 2 boxes is going to be 1. So I would go 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's going to be rise 2. So rise 2. And then over here, every 2 boxes is going to be 1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So rise is plus 2. And then run is plus 3. So rise over run is just going to be 2/3, which is the same thing as slope. Now, if you wanted to, you could have used just the 2 points there, and I could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So plus 6, and then I could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 9, and done that. And so if I do that for my rise over run, I would have plus 6 over plus 9, which when that reduces down to 2/3 again. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 is going to be find my equation, and I'm going to be doing that equation in point slope form. And so when I do point slope form for this, I'm just going to plug it into the formula. So the formula is y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1. And so all I have to do there is plug that in. Well, when I look up over here, be very careful, because the x1 and the y1 are going to be from this up here. So that's what I'm going to use, because that's the point that it's passing through. I've got my slope of 2/3 and it's passing through that point. So I'm just going to plug those numbers in. So I get y minus y1. Well, y1 is 4. And then I have my slope, which is m, that's just 2/3. And then x minus x1. Well, x1 is -3. So, and again, minus a negative turns to positive. Okay, so I've got that. Now, my next thing that I need to do is I need to distribute this 2/3. So I need to take the 2/3 and multiply it by x, and 2/3 and multiply it by 3. So I get 2/3 x plus 2/3 times 3. And when I do that, 2/3 times 3, those 3's cancel each other out. And so I'm left with y minus 4 is equal to 2/3 x plus 2. Well, the last thing I need to do here to solve for y is add 4 on both sides. Cancel those out, and so I get 2/3 x plus 6. So y equals 2/3 x plus 6. So, and that's what I have for my formula in slope-intercept form. So I don't actually need to convert it to slope-intercept form in number 3. But if your answer choices are in standard form, then you would need to convert that to standard form. So that's where step 3 is going to kind of come in. And so when you're converting it to standard form, the big thing for that is that you need to make sure that it is in ax plus by is equal to c. And a, b, and c all need to be whole numbers. So that's standard form. And so that's what I need to use. And so on this right here, if you notice, the x's and y's are on the same side, so I'm going to subtract that 2/3 x on both sides. So move that x over, and so I get negative 2/3 x plus y is equal to 6. But then again, like I said, everything needs to be a whole number. And so if it all needs to be a whole number, that 3 right here in the bottom, I just need to multiply everything by 3. So I'm going to just kind of put a bracket around there, multiply everything here by 3. And so that basically means 3 times 6, 3 times y, and 3 times negative 2/3 x. So negative 2/3 x times 3. Those 3's cancel each other out, and I'm just going to be left with negative 2x. So it's going to be negative 2x. My y is just 3 times y, so it's plus 3y. And then the end there is 3 times 6, so equals 18. So that would be my equation in standard form. And then if I'm looking for my equation in slope-intercept form, let me get the box around here correctly. It's going to look kind of like that, and that's going to be slope-intercept form. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching.